Testing. Alrighty. Looking pretty good. Sounds good. Alright, what's going on, everybody? Notice we're back again for another live stream. How we doing tonight? Well, today, I thought I could finally show my final Tekken 8 Season 1 tier list. You know, Season 2 is going to be coming out in about 2 weeks. And I promised everybody that I would be doing a final tier list, at least for Season 1. And I pretty much have every character where I want them to be. I mean, I might make some changes. I'm not fully sure yet. But so far, you know, this is what I've got. Just like in all my other tier lists, this isn't in any specific order. But I just basically was just putting characters wherever on the list. But I have a lot more rows this time than I did last time. I got, let's see, 5 rows. I think last time I had 4. What's up, Reaper? Yeah, Law is S tier. We'll get to Law, but honestly, I think we can honestly just get started now. Why not, right? So sit back and relax, and yeah, let's do this. So first up, we got Jin. I think Jin is pretty self-explanatory. The character literally has everything in the book that you need. You know, in Tekken 7, he was pretty similar to how he was in Tekken 7, except they made him easier, more accessible. Anybody can play him, and they even gave him buffs to areas that he struggled prior. One of the big things was reach on his jab and down forward 1. Both have been fixed. His Oki is now really, really strong. You know, his Oki used to be, you know, I'd say a weakness for him, but they gave him his freaking dive kick that's plus on block, hits grounded, it does literally everything, jumps over lows and shit. You know, down 2 is a good Oki tool. CD1 backflips. He has great Oki now, and I mean, other than that, the character literally has everything. 214 is one of the best strings in the game. I think it might actually be the best string in the game. You know, in Tekken 7, the last and on counter hit used to not do anything. It would just keep you standing. But now, it will give a knockdown and a wall splat, which is absolutely ridiculous because 214 was already super strong in Tekken 7, but they just had to buff it. But yeah, his poking is perfect. He has perfect mids. You know, forward 4, back 2-1. Demon Paul is insanely dumb in this game. Forward 4-3. His down 4-1 is insane in this game due to the range buff. 2-1, I already explained that. Down forward 4 is really good. I mean, he's complete when it comes to the mids. And his lows, I mean, Scourge down 2, we don't need to explain that. A damn near unseeable low. That's a counter launcher, high crushes, hits grounded, only minus 14. Super chunky. He still has down 4, which is very fast and evasive. Down back 4, good pressure low. He has amazing homing moves. with his standing 4. That move is amazing. While standing 3, his combos are perfect. Really, I mean, great damage, great wall travel. His electric, for some reason, tracks super well in this game. I don't know why, but for some reason it does. He has a perfect throw game. He has a hell sweep. Forgot to mention that. His heat smash is arguably the best in the game. It's super fast. It's basically homing. You can't step it. Infinite reach, and it wall splats you from 10 miles away from the 10 miles away from the freaking stage. It's ridiculous. And on block, it slams you into the wall, and you're minus 20 or something like that. It's ridiculous. I mean, this character literally has every single tool you need, and they made him so much easier. So, yeah, Jin, pretty self-explanatory. I think you could argue he's the best character in the game. You could argue that. I don't know if he is, but you could argue that. Let's see. So next up, we got Nina. Nina, kind of similar to Jin. I mean, they made her a lot easier in this game. She literally has every tool that you need. Her poking is, Nina's pokes are just a completely different level of retarded. You know, her down forward 1 series, down forward 1-2 jails for some reason, and it leads to follow-ups that counter at launch, and it's basically a mix-up. You can literally do it. You could just throw that move out whenever you want. It's a natural combo. It jails. You can't duck the second hit, and it's basically a mix-up on block. And down for 1-2 on its own is -3, I think, if I'm not mistaken. That alone is super dumb. Her back 2-2, 12 frame homing bitch slap, natural combo. And if it counter hits, you can counter confirm the final hit for massive damage and a wall splat, and a spinneroonie for massive plus frames. Let's see, her forward 4 is a really good addition. Super long range mid. It can go into a follow up that goes into heat. It's a heat engager. Let's see. Her combos are insane. They did nerf her combos a little bit, but they're still really good. She has good counter tools with her down back 2, which is a super long range mid homing, safe on block. Let's see. Her back 4 is a super fast high kick that's a counter at launcher. Punishment's pretty good. She has one of the best power crushes in the game and forward 1+2, especially when you're in heat, because you'll be able to heat dash out of it. And, you know, like most power crush heat engages in this game, they're high, but Nina's is mid. And when you're in heat, it's completely broken. And her guns in heat just do so much freaking damage. It is absolutely insane. Yeah, lows are complete as well. She has a hell sweep. She has an orbital, a safe launcher. And she has a bunch, and she also has a ton of knowledge checks that work against most players. That helps her a lot, especially in the lower level play. But even in high level play, she has super good fundamental tools. And again, very complete character. I mean, she really doesn't have any weaknesses. And her sidestep 1 loops that are ridiculously plus on block. That move I don't think I need to get into. Yeah, Nina again is just flawless. Really I can't think of a weakness for Nina. Let's see. Next up here, we have Law, Martial Law. Law is a complete utter joke in this game. A complete utter joke. I mean, man, it's tragic what they did to Law in my opinion, because though Law was obviously super strong in Tekken 7, he was very hard to play, really because of his DSS. DSS, takes a lot of practice to master in the previous Tekken games. You have to do back forward very quickly, and it's very hard to do consistently. But here comes Tekken 8. What do they do in Tekken 8? Let's see. They make DSS easy, to where anybody can just pick up Law and do his DSS stuff. All you have to do in this game is hold forward. And it's a complete joke. It's a joke because ever since Tekken 4, that's always been a very interesting thing with Law, where, his DSS really separated him from, it separated the beginners to, like, the really high-level expert Laws. And in this game, it's like, anyone can do it. So it's like, everyone is basically God mode with Law. And it's unfortunate, because this DSS gives him some of the most absurd broken frames and pressure in the entire game. His wall standing 4, don't we need to get into that. And I mean, the rest of the character is just complete. Again, he has everything. His pressure is incredible, amazing pokes, amazing combos, great damage. He has a slide mixed up to break your guard. That's really nice to have. Nice to have. And Law's slide is so dumb in this game. It is so fast. It tracks really well. He has a steel pedal with his nunchuck. His nunchuck is so dumb. It's so dumb. I can't stand that fucking move. Um, and when this character gets into heat, that's where I think this character is like top 5. This character in heat is absolutely retarded. This guy has a 10 frame counter confirmable safe launcher in heat with his 111 heat dash. It's super easy to counter confirm. It does a shitload of damage. The fact that that launches to begin with doesn't make any sense to me. And again, it's +5 on block like any other heat dash move on block. It's ridiculous. And when you're in heat, of course, everything chips. And when he's doing his pressure in DSS, the chip really adds up. Let's see. His nunchuck becomes a full-blown launcher in heat that's safe and is a steel pedal where they backflip on the ground, which is ridiculous. His heat smash is insanely good. I mean, oh yeah, and his DSS has an auto parry when he's in heat. You do any, I think punches. I'm not sure if it's a punch parry, but it parries when he's in heat, and it leads to great damage and good OP. And his wall combo, I think, is one of the best in the game, where you do his junkyard into the high kick into another jab string. It's so high damage. And yeah, I mean, again, Law literally has everything. He has everything that you need. Oh yeah, and his back four is one of the best homing moves in the game. Yeah. Law has everything, and then some. And then some. And they made him so much easier in this game compared to previous Tekkens. Let's see, next we got Yoshimitsu. So Yoshi is interesting because, you know, he's one of these goofy, silly characters. You know, in previous Tekken games, Yoshi was a specialist character, and where, you know, you have to be very creative with him. You needed a lot of knowledge on the game to do really well with him in previous Tekken games. But Yoshi was honestly very fun to watch, and I still think he is kind of fun to watch because of how goofy he can be. But in this game, he is on beyond steroids, crack cocaine, any kind of drug you could think of. They gave it to Yoshi because Yoshi in every other Tekken game was like down here. He wasn't good, and the reason for that was just that though he had these busted moves like, you know, his flash, his ridiculous unblockables, and his tech traps and setups, and him being able to always gain health, it was kind of balanced with the fact that he did very little damage, and his poking and fundamental tools were just not there. It was lacking. So he was pretty balanced in that department. Now, if you didn't know the matchup, it didn't matter what Tekken game you were playing. From Tekken 1 to now, if you don't know the matchup, he blows you up. That's just how he is, right? But in this game, for some odd reason, they gave him completely broken damage and a completely broken healing mechanic, especially when he's in heat. He could do certain attacks with his sword when his sword's glowing red, and he gains back so much health. It's ridiculous. It needs to get toned down. His damage also, we don't even need to get into it. When he has these ridiculous moves like his flash and his unblockable sword sweep and all these other bullshit moves, he just can't have high damage. Like that's not fair. And they gave him high damage. So, oh yeah, and great wall travel as well. And he has one of the best steel pedals in the game with his forward 1+2. They gave that to him. Did he need a steel pedal? I don't think he needed that. But lo and behold, they gave it to him anyway. And he has actually pretty decent fundamental tools in this game. His 1-1, especially when you're in no sword stance or in heat, that is one of the best 10 frame strings in the game. High mid natural combo, perfectly safe. If you're in heat or no sword stance, it's a knockdown wall splat. It's for Yoshi's broken damage. The second it's mid, and if it counter hits, it's a launcher, I believe. It's a joke. His flash is a joke. Why does it lead to a heat engager back 2-2? And again, when he's in no sword stance, it becomes a launcher to, guess what? Broken wall combo, broken damage, broken wall travel. let's see, what else? His down forward 1 is actually pretty decent for a character, for an archetype like him. His down forward 1 is actually very serviceable. His sidestep 1 is very good. Full crouch down forward 4. 3 to the 4 is a good space control move. It's safe. It has some tracking, good range. I mean, yeah, Yoshi just completely breaks this game. And, oh yeah, and his spin as well. I can't forget to mention that. Yeah, Yoshi's a big problem in this game, and I fully expect him to get nerfed in 2 weeks. Let's see here. Dragunov. Again, Dragunov is pretty self-explanatory. He's gotten nerfed a lot, so I don't think he's the best character in the game anymore, but this character still is absolutely ridiculous. His damage is still very high. His lockdown is still, with wall running 2, with his sneak 4 is still completely broken. It doesn't wall splat anymore, but the fact it's super fast, it still tracks like crazy. It still hits grounded. It's still +7 on block. It still is a heat dash launcher. That move is still a huge problem, and I think they're gonna nerf it again. The fact he even has that move to be honestly, I would get rid of the move completely, but you can't do that. Yeah, while running 2, down 2, his full crouch low, full crouch down forward 1-4 is really good. His hatchet, though it got nerfed, it's still like he still has that low, which he never had in any previous Tekken games. Let's see, 1-2-1, a super strong 10 frame counter hit combo wall splat. That move is super good, but he's always had that move. It's always been super good. His mix-ups are actually pretty damn solid, and it's just his pressure and his lockdown. It's just so stupid, and he just has these one-hit moves that are just insanely retarded, and that do so much damage. And you're just locked down and you're stuck. You can't get out of it, even after the nerfs, in my opinion. His heat is insanely strong. He has a complete throw game. That's nice to have. He has very solid strings. I mean, Dragunov is a solid character. His poking is not the best in the world, but like he doesn't need it. His lockdown is just so crazy. But yeah, Dragunov again, pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I need to go into crazy detail about him. I think we all know about Dragunov. Alyssa, I don't see this character get talked about as much as some of the other characters in the S plus tier. Alyssa is a complete utter joke. I mean, she's been a joke since. I mean, I had her in S tier in Tekken 7, I believe, as well, and it's no different in this game. She's complete. She's complete, and she's. I don't know if she's the best female in the game. I think that would go to Nina, but Alyssa is pretty damn close. The character again is flawless. I mean, again, name me one thing Alyssa can't do. Let's see. She has incredible poking, great space control. Her movement is arguably the best in the game. She has some of the best movement in the game. Good freaking combos, actually. That used to be a weakness for Alyssa, is that her damage was actually relatively low in previous games. But again, they had to give her high damage with her bullshit up forward 1. That leads to incredible high damage and incredible Oki after her combos. And you just hit up forward 1. It's super easy. Amazing full crouch mix up with her, her low, the tire shoes low, which is only -12 or 11. And then her wall standing 1+2, which is a safe mid homing, perfectly safe knockdown. And she can fly in whenever she wants. If you're forward 3+4 stance, she can fly in at any time and do a mix up with her punch, the 2 option, and then the 3 low, which if you space correctly is relatively safe. Her heat is very good. But the big thing with Alyssa, and the reason why she's S tier, really to me, is her chainsaw stance. Her chainsaws are, for some reason, ever since Tekken 7, they've just been nonstop buffing this stuff. Now, I think they're going to eventually nerf it. I think they're going to eventually tone it down, but the chip damage that is done in those stances, and that there's literally nothing you can do to counter it. All you can do to her chainsaw stance is guess. That's all you can do. All you can do is guess. And if the only thing you can do is guess, that's not good. There's literally nothing you can do to her chainsaws. You just have to guess and pray to God that it's over, basically. The chip is insane. The frames are insane. She's very safe, a relatively safe character. And she's one of those characters where you can play her absolutely like a freaking monkey, but you can also play her very solid fundamentals and like you either way you're gonna do well. You're gonna do well. And again, she's so easy and so consistent. So I don't know why we don't see more of her. Who knows? But yeah, Alyssa is a problem, and I expect her to also get toned down. Let's see here, Claudio. Let's see, Claudio. Claudio. Claudio's interesting because I remember when I first, during Tekken 7's release, I think I had Claudio in like A minus or A or whatever. I just thought he was I thought he was kind of underwhelming, but boy, oh boy, was I wrong. This character is insane. So one of his weaknesses, obviously, is poking is not there. He doesn't have the poking, but that's not what Claudio is designed for. He's designed for these one hit attacks that are just so they literally do everything for you. His back one, I mean, I don't think I need to get into that move. It is one of the best mids in the entire game. Perfectly safe, long range, mid homing, knockdown wall spot. That's -5 on block with pushback. It basically resets the neutral on block. That move is a huge problem. Sidestep 4 is one of the best lows. It is so good, super good frames. Counter hit knockdown, unseeable, tracks well. That low's a problem. Let's see. His hop kick, again, I don't think we need to get into that. His wall running 2 is a perfect high, really. I mean, shitload of damage, super high chip, super plus on block, super fast. Can even track a little bit. Goes into Starburst. And when this guy is in Heat specifically, or even in Starburst in general, this character is absolutely retarded. Because in Starburst or in Heat, you have down 1-2, natural combo wall splat +8, I think, on block. That's insane. You have his forward 1+2, 1+2. We don't forget about this, but this is a long range launcher that's safe on block. But the reason why people don't really use that move anymore, at least I guess maybe now, is because he gets one of the best moves in the entire game when he's at Starburst. Down back 1+2. Down back 1+2 is for people who don't know, it's a Demon Paw style move that is a launcher. It crushes like crazy. It's super fast, good range. It's a steel pedal. It backflips the opponent on the ground. Launcher, I think I said that. And only -2 on block with pushback. It basically resets the neutral. It's actually good on block. Yeah, and when you're in Heat, you can do that move as much as you want until your Heat runs out. And combining that with his back 1, and his wall running 2, forward 4 is another incredible mid. His up forward 3 is a plus on block mid. His forward 4, back 3 is a good poke. It's a 13 frame mid. That's a knee. You can't parry that. And also his combos, specifically again when he's in Heat or Starburst, his 2-1-2 spin tailspin thing, that shit is so obnoxious because he can do that multiple times in a combo, and his wall travel with that becomes absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And there's one thing. Oh yeah, and his Heat Smash. He gets a power low that knocks down a shitload of damage. It can break the wall or balcony, and it's only -14 on block. Oh, and it tracks, and it's unseeable, and has great range. And combining, especially near the wall, when you have back 1, when you have his freaking DP, and some of the best mids in the game, it's like, did he need that low? I don't think so, but he has it. And again, Claudio, so easy, so consistent. No execution to play. The only thing that kind of holds Claudio back is the poking. His poking is not there. But incredibly good character. Next up, we got Shaheen. Shaheen, again, is kind of like, Alyssa, Law, Jin. I mean, Shaheen is complete. Shaheen literally has every single tool that you need. He's so bland and boring. Like, I'm not going to lie. He's a boring character, but he's strong. You can't tell me that he's not strong. He has everything. He has great pokes, good lows. He has a full crouch slide mix up to open you up. His up forward one is a great addition. He has good cancels, great Oki, solid combos. And again, when he's in heat, he gets access to one of the best things in the game, which is his guard break, which is super fast. It does a shitload of chip, and it guarantees either 4-2-3 or his back forward 2, which is a throw that eliminates your recoverable health. That's a huge deal in this game because recoverable health is that's a big deal in this game. And Shaheen is very good at getting rid of your recoverable health. That is a huge thing for Shaheen to have. And his heat smashes are really good. And I mean, he's just a solid character. Again, he has everything, and he's relatively simple to play. Relatively simple. There's not much difficulty when it comes to Shaheen. Again, there's not much to say on Shaheen. Again, he is boring. He is pretty bland, but again, power level wise, he's freaking good. Really good. Let's see. Feng Wei. Feng Wei to me is basically in Tekken 7. I always said that Fang was an easier Jin, but not quite as strong as Jin on paper. But Fang, kind of similar to Jin, is that he has everything. Again, just like all these dang S tiers. Maybe besides like Yoshi and Kuma, but we'll get to them. But Fang Wei, he has everything. He has incredible pokes. Down forward 1 being 0 on block is a big deal. His panic moves are some of the best in the game. I mean, his back 1, up forward 2, even though that was nerfed. His back Kempo is super strong. You can't really, his backspring blow, you can't really pressure Fang without getting hit in the face by a counter hit. His lows are complete, with down 2, down back 3, down 4. His full crouch sweep, which did get nerfed, but it's still very good. Course hook forward 1 is a shoulder that can't be low parried. His freaking whatever it's called, his down back 2 series is actually kind of underrated. It's actually pretty good. Let's see. His back 3 thrust knee is a joke. I don't know why he needed that move. Plus on block knee. That's good range, knockdown. Yeah, but his back 3 is so stupid. I don't know why he got that, but he did. His back turn mix-ups are very good, though again it was nerfed. The mid power crush from that stance used to launch when he was in heat. You could heat dash out of it, and you got a combo. But they nerfed that. Now you just get a shoulder or whatever. But that's still really good. He has a good 50-50. He has an unseeable snake edge, his sidestep 4, and you can mix that up with a safe launcher in his down forward 3. Really good. And his parries are very good. His Sabaki parries, his 1+2, his 4-3+4 stance, shifting clouds is a launcher if you parry it, if you get a parry. Yeah, I mean, again, Fang's perfect, really. Again, he has every single tool that you need. I really can't think of a weakness for Fang Wei. Maybe except for maybe not having a throw game, but his lows are incredible. You don't need a throw game. Sorry guys, I have some water next to me because my throat's gonna be dry after this shit. Let's see here. Kuma. Now this character, Kuma's interesting. I'm sure some people are like, "What the hell are you thinking?" Well, in my opinion, I think Kuma is top 10, and I'm gonna explain why. Yes, Kuma doesn't really have the poking or the frames. He's again like Yoshi. He's never had that. That's not what he's known for. He's not known to poke you down. Or trust me, like you want to fight Kuma with good poking? If Kuma had good poking, he'd be right here. He'd be the best character in the game if he had poking. So you gotta give him some weakness. His down back 2 was significantly nerfed in this game though. It's launch punishable on block. That's actually a really big deal. So you might think, well, why the heck is he in S tier? Oh yeah, and he is relatively punishable on some attacks if you know the matchup. But here's the problem with Kuma. Once he launches you, he gets you in the air, whether it be a block punish, a whiff punish, a counter hit with his back 4-2, which is a 15 frames, super long range high that is infinite range, is basically homing, lightning fast counter hit launcher that's safe on block. You die. Kuma kills you. He's gonna take you to the wall. He does infinite fucking damage. His wall combo is the most retarded wall combo, some of the worst wall combos I've ever seen in the world when it comes to damage. It is so high. His down forward 1-2 delay 1+2 into the butt stomp. Like I don't know why that's guaranteed. That is way too much damage. And then right, Kuma's gonna pop his heat, and then you are dealing with the best heat in the game. Kuma's heat is the best. I don't care what nobody says. I don't know any other character that has better heat than Kuma. Think about it. His heat smash, right? 13 frames, super fast, super long range, high crushes for some reason, hits on the ground, so much damage, and if that's blocked, you're minus. And if you're near the wall, which is where you're going to be at most of the time, if Kuma gets you, if he catches you, it's gonna slam you into the wall, and then and you're minus a million, and then Kuma gets another mix up. His electric is it arguably the best move in the game? It's a special mid electric that's very fast, no execution, +5 on block, launcher, all that goody stuff, and there is nothing you can do to it. It does so much chip damage. Most people are going to do electric into his heat smash, and there's nothing you can do. You literally just have to block. You can't step, power crush, heat burst, nothing. Interrupt, and there's nothing you can do because the heat smash is so fast. The fact that it's 13 frames is ridiculous. I expect them to slow that down. That needs to be at least 15 frames. Make it like pandas, for crying out loud. But yes, that alone, the fact that his damage is so freaking broken and his heat is the best in the game, and he actually has pretty decent buttons in the neutral. His 2-1, very good, always been. Again, back 4-2, I don't need to explain that. While running 1+2 is insane. His chip damage is completely insane. His lows are actually decent enough because you are never gonna duck Kuma. No one is ducking Kuma. It's just not gonna happen. What other move? His back one power crush is one of the best power crushes ever. It's so retarded. His back 1+2 is super dumb, super high chip damage. And of course, Kuma still has his gimmicks. He still has his gimmicks like he did in Tekken 7. So if you bro, if you don't know this matchup, you're dead. You're dead. Simple as that. He launches you, you die. Kuma's a problem. A huge problem. And I fully expect him to get nerfed. Jesus Christ, it's been 30 minutes already. I gotta speed up, guys. I'm sorry. Holy crap. Oh my god, I got a ton of characters left. Okay, well, that's basically the S tier. I think I went into pretty good detail about each character. Now we're gonna go to A+. First up, we got King. King is so dumb in this game. I mean, the throws, the fact that if you counter at someone with a throw, you do freaking. It's a very small break window. They did nerf it a little bit, which actually hurt King quite a bit. And the fact that they nerfed homing throws, that was a big hit to King. If that was still there, I mean, King could arguably be top 5, but they toned that down, thank God. But his throws are the best in the game. He has some of the best counter tools in the game. His down forward 2-1, for some odd reason, is still a 13 frame mid counter hit launcher. That's perfectly safe on block. And very easy to counter and confirm. Why does he have that? I don't know. Whiff punishment's still pretty good. 4-4 neutral 2 is one of the best lows in the game. That shit's so dumb. His damage is super high. His armor moves, more specifically down back 1+2 into the 2 option. For some reason, that's safe on block. I don't know why it is, but it is. His shove is retarded. Let's see. What else? His forward 1. He has great homing moves. Forward 1, forward 4. Yeah, his homing moves are obviously better. And he actually, again, he has good lows, even though he doesn't necessarily need them. But yeah, 4 no chill 2. Don't need to explain that. Down 3. Down back 3 has good crushing. And his Oki is super good too. With his throws, with his ground throws. With his forward 4 hitting semi-grounded for some reason after a Shining Wizard. Yeah, King is ridiculous. The big thing with King though is that his movement is very bad. His step is not the greatest, and his backdash is very bad, very bad. But King, super strong character. Oh yeah, and his Heat Smash is one of the best in the game as well. Forgot to mention that. But yeah, King super strong. Again, this isn't in any particular order, by the way. Let's see, Reina. Reina, super complete character. Super complete. Again, she really has everything you need. Great pokes, good stance rush down. Again, she's really the rush down, pressure Mishima really. Electric, don't need to get into that. Great combos. Our 442 is one of the best mids in the game, in my opinion. Even after the 4-4, even after the tracking nerf, excuse me, it's still a really dumb move. Yeah, pretty good space control with that move, even though it's a little riskier because you can step it, but she has back 2 for homing. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, great block punishment too. Great block punishment and great whiff punishment too. Really the big problem with Reina is just the lows aren't the greatest, but her health sweep is there. It's pretty good. Side step 4 is there. Down back 2 is there. She has low options. She has a low heat smash when she's in heat in one of her stances, which is something to note. But yeah, Reina is super strong, super strong. I think honestly she's fine the way she is. Like I don't think she needs to be nerfed or buffed. She's super annoying though. I'm not gonna lie, she's annoying as hell, especially if you don't know the matchup. But great character. And her down forward 1-2 is one of the best heat strings in the game, in my opinion. Her down forward 1 is super dumb because you have down forward 1-2, down forward 1-1, down forward 1 on its own, and you can also go into her stance afterwards, which leads to very good complete mix-ups. It's awesome. It's awesome if you're the Reina. And again, she has forward just like the other Mishimas. Excuse me. And if you hit that on a crouching opponent, just like Heihachi in the previous games, down forward 1-2 guaranteed for a wall slap. And when you're in heat, that's really fun to deal with near the wall. So yeah, Reina's super strong. Just not the best lows. Not the best low kit, but her mids and highs are so good that she doesn't really need the lows. But they're still there. Let's see. Next, Brian. So Brian, very hard to play. Doesn't really have the poking, but he's a single move character really with his back 1, 3+4, 4-3, quarter circle back 1. Quarter circle back 1 is that move. Oh my god, is that one of the best highs in the game? You could argue that it's so fast, super long range, super plus on block, counter launcher, super high chip damage. That move is a problem. That move needs to get toned down, that's for sure. And then he has Corsical for 1+2, which is like a Demon Paw style move. Super good range, super good tracking, heat engager, safe on block, elbow, wall splat. Super good space control. And his homing is some of the best in the game. With Corsical for 1+2, with forward 4, with his 1+2 series, down forward 4. Yeah, Brian, you don't want to step versus Brian. And his counter tools are some of the best in the game. He has so many counter hits, and they all lead to insanely broken damage. And he's going to get you to the wall. He's going to pop his heat. He's going to do his wall combo, and then you're going to wake up. And his wall game is arguably the best in the game. His taunt it's very hard to use at the high level, but if you can master it, it is on paper completely broken for sure. Um, his string in Heat or in Snake Eyes, Incinerator is one of the best strings in the game. It is super good frames. It tracks super well. Natural combo, incredible frames. That move is completely retarded. I hope that move gets nerfed. And yeah, the big thing with Brian is just that, yeah, once he gets a counter hit on you, kind of like Kuma, millions of damage into his on paper busted wall game, and he has super good single attacks. But again, the big problem with Brian is that again he is very hard to play, and that his poking is not the greatest. But Brian is so strong, so strong. Brian was another character I really underestimated. I really underestimated Brian. Xiao Yu, I used to think this character was higher, and the real reason why I thought that was because of her heat. Her heat is still some of the best. It's still one of the best in the game. Her back turn heat smash is one of the best in the game. Her hypnotist mix up in heat is ridiculous. The low sweep is a freaking launcher that's only minus 13. And then you have the mid mix up, which is a heat dash launcher that's plus on block. Yeah, her heat is honestly really retarded and super brain dead, really. It is completely brain dead. You're going to mainly go for backturn heat smash. You're going to go for hypnotist mix up, which can. There's many ways of going into it. Let's see. And then she also has a really good heat string. 4-2-1-2, I believe, is the string. Or you can do 4-2-1 into hypnotist mix up. Yeah, her heat is completely brain dead, and that's the main reason why she's so high. But outside of heat, I feel like the character is not as good as these top characters. She still's got some complete bullshit, horseshit moves. Has pretty decent fundamental tools, excuse me. Has one of the best wall combos in the game, in my opinion, especially when she's in heat. Her Art of Phoenix stance, the evasion on that shit is ridiculous. The fact that it can even beat lows at times or moves that hit semi-grounded, that's a problem. Yeah, her gimmicks, her mix-ups, back turn stuff, shenanigans. She's very good. And when she's in heat, this character is S tier. But again, outside of heat, you know, she's obviously not as good, and her poking still isn't the greatest. But she also does have a safe quote low in down back 2. That low is retarded. Super fast. Plus on hit into back turn mix up, and on block it's -8, but you're in back turn, so it's kind of similar to Leroy's down back 3, where it's basically a mix up on block on how to punish it. There's no guaranteed punish on that low because she has a bunch of parries and stuff. And she also got Wang's Waning Moon in this game, a launching throw. Did she need it? I don't think she needed it, but they gave it to her. So her throw game is actually pretty decent because of that. And she also has a 2 throw. Yeah, Xiaoyu's strong. She's strong. She's not as good as I maybe thought she was, but she's still hella strong. Still hella strong. Let's see. Kazuya. Kazuya is ridiculous. Absolutely freaking ridiculous right now. He is very hard to play, for sure. He's still, he does, again, just like Brian, he doesn't have the poking. We all know this. Kazuya is not a poker. He has very crappy pokes. He is still, can be vulnerable to sidestep left. But outside of that, I feel like this character, again, he does, his moves come out a little slower compared to other characters, but when he's allowed those frames and when he's allowed to get going, this character's a monster. With his freaking electric, 4-4-3 safe mid launch that leads to a shitload of damage. Having a demon paw, the fact that he has that, I don't know why he needed that, but they gave it to him. Super long range, it tracks really well, safe, really good in heat. Corsico 4-1+2 is insane, especially on wake up. It is, +5 on block. super high chip damage, especially near the wall. That move is super, super good. His down back 4 and down 1+2 are some of the best lows in the game, in my opinion. Hell sweep, obviously, don't even need to get into that. Forward 4 is super good. His heat is some of the best in the game. His heat is so good. So good. He has so many good options. He has a power crush that stance, Secret Ray or whatever it's called. I think it's 1+4. One of the best power crushes in the game. That move is so good. Down back 1-2 and the chip damage is super high. He gets a buffed Hell Sweep. His 4-4-2 gets buffed. Electric. I mean, yeah. And again, his Oki. Because he is Oki and his block punishment, some of the best in the game. Yeah, Kazuya is super strong. But again, he has his weaknesses. Again, he's not the best. Again, his poking is not very good. That holds him back. And obviously, he still can be vulnerable to sidestep left. So he still has weaknesses. But in this game, Kazuya is super good. Super good. Let's see. Victor. Victor, though he's received some nerfs, very welcome nerfs for sure, he is super, super easy to play. And he's solid. He just has solid tools, His back 1+2, though they nerfed it, is still one of the best freaking power crushes in the game. That move is so dumb. His 1+2, safe mid counter launcher, has pretty decent poking with his jab, down forward 1, down 1. That low can't be low parried because it's a sword attack. His wall running 2 into his stance mix up is very good. His stance is very good, very complete. Good complete stance mix ups. His combos are some of the best in the game. This guy can do infinite wall travel. It is actually insane. And his wall combo, especially when he's in heat, is again one of the best in the game. He'll do jab, forward 4-2 into stance, and then he'll do the down 2 option, and there's nothing you can do to that. You have to either block it and eat a shitload of chip and +7 or something on block into another stance mix-up, or you stay on the ground and then you just get hit by it for 1,000,000 damage. That combo's so dumb. I think they're going to get rid of it. And again, he's just a solid character. Just solid. And again, very, very easy to play. Very easy. You don't have to think when you play Victor. Next up, we got Clive. Clive, I would say release Clive could have arguably been top 10 because his forward 1+2 was arguably the best move in the game, or one of the best moves. That move literally did everything. Ever since they nerfed that tool, Clive has maybe gone down a little bit, but I still think Clive is pretty good. He still has good space control with his back 2, which is a super long range plus on block high homing that leads into his stance mix up. His stance is again super complete, rush down mix ups, great stuff out of his stances. Has a hell sweep, has a homing plus on block mid, has a poke from that stance. He has a power crush. He has everything. Absolutely everything from that stance. His combos and wall travel, some of the best in the game. Again, good space control. His lows are actually very good with his down 1, down back 4, full crush down 4-2. That low can't be low parry because it's a weapon. And he has one of the best parries in his, I think it's back 3, I think is how you do it. That parry is so dumb. Even after they nerfed it, it's still really, really good. He has some charge ups which are interesting. He has some guard breaks, especially in heat, where it is on paper, I think, honestly broken. When this character's in heat, that's where I feel like this character is honestly like super high tier. His forward 1+2 becomes a launcher plus on block, still tracks like crazy, infinite range. His heat smash is pretty good, and it's really his heat strings. His down forward 1 series, so much chip damage, there's nothing you can do to it, you just have to block it. And his forward 2 series in heat, again, he has a guard break from that, which will wall splat, and if you don't charge it, it's plus on block. +2. And again, Clive, very simple. Very simple to play, very consistent. And that's always nice with these characters. The problem with Clive is, again, he can take risks, and his poking, again, is not the best. But other than that, this character is pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Let's see here. And then, we're out of the A+ tier. This is taking forever. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Holy shit. I didn't realize how many characters there were. No, now we're in the A tier. First up, we got Lily. Lily, again, is just solid. Some of the best movement in the game. Very good fundamental tools. Incredible punishment. Great damage. Great panic moves. In Heat, she gets a really dumb mix-up from her feisty rabbit stance, is her back 3 into the low knockdown. She has a steel pedal in this game. They gave that to her. Down 4-3, great plus on block pressure mid. Down 3 is a good low. 4-4-4 is a good low. 4-4, long range mid safe counter at launcher. Corsical 4-3 +4, great pressure tool, even though it's high. Yeah, Lily's very good. Very good. If you're a very strong player, I think Lily's a great choice. Incredible movement, great whiff and block punishment. But I feel like compared to these top characters, I feel like she's a little more honest. So that's why I don't know if she's quite up here. But make no mistake, a very good Lily player is gonna fuck you up. Absolutely. Next up, we got Steve. So Steve, super safe character, super good counter tools with his back 1, even though they did nerf it a little bit. His down 4-2, even though that move got kind of gutted, but it is still there. Great pressure, great mix-ups, solid combos. He actually does pretty decent damage. His damage was actually better than I thought it was. It's still not as good as Tekken 7, but his damage is actually still very high, especially when he's in Heat. And pretty good space control, in my opinion. And he also got a Kempo-like stance with his over here stance, or I forgot what it's called. Lionheart, that's what it's called. That stance is actually, I think, a good addition to Steve. They had to buff it a shitload. Like on release, that stance was a complete joke, but after the buffs he's received, it's actually a very good stance now. At least the very good mix-ups. He has a guard break from that stance. He has 2 very good mids out of it. He has a launcher and a heat engager. Again, amazing tracking. You can't step this character. Yeah, again, Steve's strong. If you have the time, if you have good fundamentals and you have good timing, again, Steve is a good choice. However, big problems are, again, his lows are in his 50-50 really weak. Really weak 50-50. Down back 3-2, no longer knocking down for a follow-up is a big deal. And also his block punishment is a meme. It is so bad. Back 2 no longer being a launcher is a big nerf. Big nerf. I don't think he can launch till like 20 something frames. So his block punishment outside of while sending 1-2 for 11 is very poor. Super poor. And his comeback utility is very bad. He just doesn't really have it. Doesn't have the 50-50 to really be a super high threat. What else was Steve? Oh yeah, and his heat is pretty underwhelming in my opinion. The only thing you're gonna really threaten with that stance is with his heat. My bad. Is he has a clinch mix up, but it's just not that good. It's underwhelming. His heat smash is kind of whatever. The best thing I think he has from that is the buff Sonic thing. Heat dashing out of it, making a plus on block, stuff like that. So yeah, Steve is strong, but he has very glaring weaknesses that hold him back. Next up, Hordong. Honestly, Hordong I could see being higher on this list. Hordong really has everything you need, honestly. The big thing with Hordong is that he is relatively hard to pilot. People think that he's just a mashing fest, like some of the other characters in this tier, but he's not. He is relatively hard to play. He does take some execution, but if you have the execution, this character is actually very good. He's complete. He's got great. I mean, his pressure, his chip damage, his homing tools, his space control. I don't even need to get into all that stuff. Down 3-4, though was nerfed, is still a super dumb, annoying low. He has a complete throw game for some reason, even though he's a Taekwondo master. He has a complete throw game. Who would have thought? But yeah, lows are complete. Good mids. His right stance down 4-3 is a super good long range mid homing plus on block. Um, yeah, his pressure is really good. He has actually pretty good evasion tools with his back one. Has a parry. Incredible whiff punishment. Whiff punishment with his back three alone, some of the best in the game. Block punishment's really good. His wall combo, his combos in general are super, super good. Super high damage. Incredible wall travel. Solid block punishment. Yeah, and his stances and his pressure and his mix-ups are super annoying and good. And when he's in heat, that's when this character also becomes so dumb. Because again, his pressure stuff, kind of like Law, does shitloads of chip damage. So you're taking chip damage from just blocking his stuff. His down back four becomes a counter launcher when he's in heat. He can confirm his down back four into his slippery kicks, and that's a full combo. Same thing with his two jab. He can do the same thing with the slippery kicks. It's ridiculous. 4-4-4 is also great. Long range, safe mid. That's really good. And he gets a hell sweep when he's in heat as well. Yeah, Hordong is strong, dude. Hordong is very strong. Maybe held back from just, being relatively hard to pilot. Next up is June. June, I think June's a little underrated. I think June, and honestly Zafina too, both these characters I think are very underrated. They're both very solid, have great tools. It's just no one really plays them after they've been nerfed. June was pretty much S tier on release because of her heat. Her heat smash was arguably the best in the game. Now it's much more fair now. You can finally step that bullshit. But it's still a projectile, still very good. Still has good buttons, still has good mix-ups and stances. Her stances can be a little fake at times, but if you know what you're doing, they're pretty good mix-ups. Sidestep 4, great mid. Forward 4 is really good homing move. Forward 2, super, super good whiff punisher. Has a pretty good down forward 1. Let's see, has some good throws, has a launching throw. Has good defensive options. She has a very good Sabaki parry. I think 4-2+3 is how you do it. Super high damage. Very good on block. That move's really good. Super good panic moves with can't kick, back 3, her parry, the Sabaki like I just said. June's damage, even after the nerfs, her damage is still very, very high when she gets you in the air. And her heat I still think is pretty good. And she has good block punishment too. So yeah, June, again, I think underrated, solid. But she's been nerfed, so she's not quite as good as she used to be. And some of her stuff is kind of fake. So if you know this matchup, I think she's a bit more tolerable, but June is still very underrated. Let's see. Next up we got Zafina. Zafina again, very underrated. In my opinion. Again, she's solid. She has good buttons. 4-4-3 or 4-4-4, good safe mid, long range homing. Her stance mix-ups are very annoying. She's very evasive. Her down 3 is her down 3, bro. In my opinion, arguably one of the best lows in the game. Super, super long range, super evasive. Counter hit launcher. Not that bad on block. Leads to a mix-up on hit. Hits grounded, hits side roll. That low is really good. Super, super dumb low. And her wall running 1+2, that shit is so goddamn annoying. On block is homing. It leads into her mix-up from one of her stances. The down forward 1 option after that is +7 on block. And again, so much hit damage. And there's just some vortexes that Zafina can put you in with her wall running stuff. With her 1+2 option, which is a high. And then you have wall running 3, which is plus on block and puts you in a stance for pressure. Now you might think, well, you could step duck that option. Well, no, you can't because she also has forward 4, which is a mid-safe, mid-homing move, which is, again, safe. And it's a wall splat. Combos are good. Her down forward 1 is very good. 1+2 is a very good option still. Counter launcher. The big thing with Zafina is that, again, she's been nerfed a little bit compared to Tekken 7. I feel like there's some characters that are better. But Zafina still absolutely can compete at the max level. And again, you never see these characters, so you don't know. People don't know this matchup, so you're gonna blow most people up with this character. Oh yeah, but another big thing that they did to her is that they nerfed a lot. They took away a lot of her counter tools, which was actually a pretty big deal for her. And her back 1+2 low is locked behind a stance. That's a pretty big deal. So she still has setbacks, but Zafina very solid in my opinion. And again, I don't think she gets talked about enough, especially after they buffed her. Let's see. And then we got Leo. Leo, I don't really know, honestly. I don't know much about this character. Leo's just kind of like, who gives a shit? Like, who cares about this character? He's solid, has good tools. Pretty complete character. Good stance mix-ups. Her down 2 is very good. Down 4-3, good homing. Has a demon paw. Her heat's pretty good. Down 4-3+3 is a good low. Good. Her wall combo is one of the best in the game, though. I'll give her that. Her wall combo is super, super good. His wall combo, excuse me. I mean, yeah, Leo's solid. Leo's very solid. It's just that God dang it, he is just very, very bland. It's like, why is Leo even in the game? It's like they can honestly get rid of her, and oh my god, guys, I'm sorry I keep saying her. It's a habit, I guess. But Leo is like, he's just bland. Like, again, why is he even in the game? But again, on paper, Leo's strong. He's a good character, but I'm not gonna talk much about him. I don't really know that much, but he's solid. It's just there's just way stronger characters. Not way stronger characters, but yeah, Leo. No one gives a shit. But Leo's strong. Okay, so that's basically the A tier. We got 2 more tiers left. We also have obsolete, but I'll talk about obsolete real quick. Anna's not out yet, so I can't rank her. Panda on paper is probably like a high B plus or even a low A minus because again, she has broken damage and stuff like that. But the problem with Panda is just that on paper there's no reason to play her because Kuma has better heat utility. She does not have the electric and the heat smash that Kuma does. So Panda is just like, you're basically playing Kuma but without his heat utility. So like I said, on paper, Panda is not the worst character in the game. But Kuma is just better. Like on paper, there's no reason to play Panda. She's obsolete. So I just want to get that out of the way. So we have 12 characters left. Let's see if I can make this quick. For A minus, Jack. Jack is solid. Has pretty good poking, good range. His down 4-2 super long range, complete throw game. Has some pretty decent mix-ups from his Gamaha stance. High damage, especially when he's at the wall. Has good pressure. But the big thing with Jack is that again, he's relatively honest. His stance mix-ups are pretty fair in my opinion. I think there's pretty obvious counterplay to them. His full crouch low got nerfed. It's not safe anymore. That's a pretty big deal. 4-4-1, no longer knocking down again is a pretty big nerf, but it's still a good mid. Again, Jack's a solid character. But again, he's a little too honest in my opinion. And again, his stance stuff is there's clear counterplay to it in my opinion. But still, pretty good poking. Still long range, super good throws, and pretty high damage. Let's see, Lee. Lee. Again, Lee is solid. Very strong counter hits. His 1+2 is one of the best homing moves in the game. He has a good down 4-2, a good 10 frame string and 2-2-3. What's up, Zeko? Welcome to the stream, bro. Thanks for being here. His back four is arguably one of the best keep out moves in the game. His wall combo is one of the best in the game. His combos in general are some of the best in the game. Super good wall travel, super high damage. His down three is a good counter at launcher, though it is launch punishable. Has some pretty good mix-ups when in his hitman stance. Pretty decent, decent poking. Has a magic 4, very nice to have in this game, especially considering that most of them were nerfed. Yeah, I mean, he's solid there, but the big problem with Lee is that all the stuff that I mentioned is really strong when you're pressing into Lee. But the problem is that if you're a really good turtle, then how is a Lee player really going to open you up? That's the big problem. Back 3-3 is just the risk reward for that low is completely in your favor, because if you get hit by that low, it's like what, 30 damage and plus 4, which is okay, I guess. But if you block that, the high will always whiff and you die. You're in the air. And combos in this game do super high damage. You get taken to the wall, they pop their heat, and you're just in a really bad situation. So that's a big problem. And down back 3 plus 4, down 3, they're just not scary. Like, they're good lows, but they're not scary enough for you to duck. They're not threatening. They're good, but they're not threatening. And his slide no longer knocks down. That's a huge nerf. The fact that it doesn't knock down anymore, that's a big deal. And it's still launch punishable on block. And he doesn't fall to the ground like Shaheen or Law do. So, yeah, his slide sucks. And also, his heat is the worst in the game. His heat is absolute dog shit. The only thing you're really going to use that for is to make just frames easier and for his 4-4-3 heat dash, which is a lot more steppable compared to the Demon Pulse, maybe besides Double Gem. So yeah, that's just a big problem with Lee. Just opening up a turtle is a huge problem with this character. That really holds him back. But again, he still has very, very good tools. Heihachi. Heihachi is so committal and so risky with everything he does, because Heihachi is super, super steppable. Super steppable. And his homing moves are just not good. Back 3 is no good, doesn't have much range, and it's high. And up forward 4 is too slow. He doesn't have the poking anymore in his frames. That all got nerfed. It's gone. 1-1 being -5 on block, down for 1 being -5 on block is a complete joke. But with that being said, though, when this guy does get the read on you, he gets a counter hit or an electric or something like that, his damage is again completely ridiculous. It is so high, and his heat is pretty decent. He gets Ultra Instinct Heihachi when I think you have to pop your heat 3 times and you have access to that for a round, which again on paper, super strong. Super good. He has a lot of good options from there. His Hell Sweep doesn't stagger. He gets super high damage. His combos get buffed. His 1+2 becomes insane. His 4-4-3 becomes plus on block, which is his mid launcher. He has a lot of good shit. But I feel like some of the characters, when they get into heat, are just either as good or even better than Heihachi's Ultra Instinct. And they get it every single round. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And again, he's just so steppable and just so punishable. His frames are not that good outside of a couple of moves. And he's just so steppable. And just so risky. So, yeah, I just don't think Heihachi is that strong in this game. But when he does get you in the air, it hurts. It does a shitload of damage. And when he does have pretty good wall pressure, as he's always had. But yeah, Heihachi, not that good in this game. But still has some good stuff. Paul, in my opinion, again, Paul, kind of similar to Jack and whatever. Paul is just too honest. he's way too honest in this game. Again, he has very good tools. He still has good counter moves, but they've been nerfed. Up back to no longer being a counter launcher really hurts this guy. But he still has good home moves. Forward four, core circle back four. Um, back one is no longer a homing move, which was a big nerf. The only time this character really shines is really when he gets a counter hit or a down forward two, or he maybe block punishment. His block punishment is very good though. And his damage is through the roof. His damage is super freaking high. And he also has a complete throw game. That's really nice to have. And his heat is pretty good in my opinion. His heat smash is very good. Has the death fist, power death fist. Has some good cancels, and he has some string mix-up utility and good stances. But yeah, Paul, in my opinion, just too honest in a dishonest game like Tekken 8. His poking is bad. His jab is not good. His Demo Man is a lot worse in this game. The cleanup property is much worse compared to previous Tekkens. Yeah. Paul, again, still very, very solid. Very solid, but just a little too honest in my opinion compared to all the characters above him. He just doesn't really stand out as much. Let's see, Leroy. Leroy is the king of chip, really. I mean, his chip is super high. Sidestep 1+2. His heat, especially when he's in heat. His machine gun punches all do insane amounts of heat. He does very high damage. His highs and mids are just so strong, and he has pretty good lows as well with his down 3-2, hard on style, down back 3, which is, I think it's actually one of the best lows in the game. That low is actually very good. Very fast, long range, tracks well. Counter hit gives a guaranteed follow up for a wall splat, and on block, it's again kind of like Shayu's down back 2. It's safe, quote unquote, if there's a mix up to it on block. His back 3 is super good, high homing move, super plus on block, gives a guaranteed follow up on hit. He has the orbital, which is a safe launcher. He has good counter tools. 12 frame mid counter launcher and back 1+2. He has a 10 frame jab string counter combo. Back 1 is still there. Yeah, Leroy is still very good. Still very good. And his parries are still very strong as well. Especially his perfect parry. If you can do his perfect parry, that leads to a shitload of damage. So yeah, Leroy is still very solid, but again, still not quite as good as the top characters, and his poking in this game is not nearly as good as previous games. And then finally, for A- tier, you have Azuzina. Azuzina is fine, in my opinion. After the nerfs she's received, I think she's much more fair now than she was previously. I still hate this character. She's still very annoying. But Wall Running 3-2 is not that good anymore. This character only really shines when she's in her stance doing her mix-ups. Again, she's very annoying. She's still a solid character. Has good tools. Her While Staying 1's a good 13 frame mid counter launcher. While Staying 3 is very good. Her Downfall 1 series is still very good. But yeah, Azuzina, after the nerf, she just doesn't really stand out anymore. She's just one of these typical waifu stance rushdown characters that's very easy to play. So like I said, she's fine, she's all right, but she just a little underwhelming to me compared to some of the other characters after the nerf she's received. But she's still very annoying, but not much else to say on her. All right, finally we're in the B+ tier. We're almost done, people. So, B+, Lars. Lars still isn't very good in this game. I thought Lars was a lot better at the start of Tekken 8, but I overrated him so hard. And it's kind of unfortunate because since, Lars wasn't good in Tekken 7 either. The big thing with Lars is that his stance mix-ups are just very, very fake. He has, again, pretty clear counterplay to his stance mix-ups. They're just not that good. His lows are, again, I'd say better than Tekken 7, but still not the greatest. Poking is still not really there. Still a bit sluggish. Um, but with that being said, he still has good tools. His dynamic entry 3, super dumb move. I can't stand that fucking move. His combos are some of the best in the game. His block punishment is still very strong. Not as vulnerable to sidestep right as he was in Tekken 7, but he is still vulnerable there. But again, the big thing with Larza, again, he's just kind of underwhelming. His heat still isn't all that great. And again, his mix-ups are relatively fake, if you know the matchup. So that's my thing with Lars. Eddie's another one of those characters where, again, he's very annoying, very obnoxious. But if you know this matchup, he dies. He's so punishable in everything he does. They nerfed a lot of his counter tools. Down forward 2 doesn't counter launch anymore. His frames just aren't there. And I don't know, he's very linear. Yeah, I mean, Eddie has some mix-ups, but they're just too risky. He doesn't have his low launcher anymore. His mid is, the mids are okay, I guess, but the low just isn't as scary as it was previously. Yeah. Eddie's fine. He's fine the way he is. He has some good tools. 443 is still very good. His sidestep 3 was 4 still there. Sidestep 4, sidestep 3. A 4-4 is still a good move. And he still has the mix-ups to open your guard up, but he's just way too risky for the reward that he gets. He's very high risk, high risk, moderate reward. So yeah, Eddie, yeah, just way too punishable. Oh, it's not Iodine. Esther Kuma, yeah, in my opinion, this character, Kuma's ridiculous. Kuma's absolutely ridiculous. I think I'm gonna put I'm gonna put timestamps for every character tomorrow in the comment section. So if y'all want to go check out each character, I'll put timestamps. So if just for my thoughts, but yeah, Kuma is a problem. That's for sure. Anyway, back to B plus. Lydia. Lydia to me is super underwhelming. Super underwhelming in this game. She's just clunky. Poking is shit. Her lows are some of the worst in the game. Very steppable. She's another one of these waifu stance rushdown characters, but I mean, again, she has mix-ups. She has tools. Her 442 is still very good. Back 1 is still a good move. Wall running 1 is good. Her heat though is very good. She has a very annoying mix-up with an unblockable high and a super plus unblock mid. But yeah, I just feel like outside of heat, this character is just very just unremarkable. Very lackluster. Just linear, pokes are not good, lows suck. Yeah, on paper, I just don't see a reason to play Lydia. I mean, again, she has tools, but yeah, it's just not that good. Not that good. Clive not being in top 5 makes no sense. I don't think Clive is top 5. No, I don't agree with that at all. Here's the thing. Clive, I don't think is all the way down here. Like Clive, if you want to say Clive is top 10, sure. Honestly, you can do that. This tier list is very close. But if we're talking about like Clive launch when he had ridiculous forward 1+2, then I think you can make an argument for top 5. But after they nerfed that, I don't know about that. But Clive is still incredibly strong. But top 5, no way. No way. I don't think he's stronger than like Dragunov or Yoshi or Law, Nina, Jin. I just don't agree with that at all. Anyway, back to B plus. Raven. Raven. Raven's a cool character, you know. He's a cool character. He's got some good stuff, but you know, having a homing down forward 1 is very, very good to have. He has good keep out tools, very high damage. His wall staying 2 is very strong. Down back 2 is very strong. But the big thing with Raven is just that, again, he's very risky, very inconsistent. His heat is pretty underwhelming compared to other heats. His heat smash is still a projectile. That's still very good. But it's steppable. It doesn't have infinite reach. His clones are, you know, in heat are not plus on block. They're minus, which I think is fair. I don't mind them being minus, but it's just not as good compared to other heats. And again, he's just very inconsistent. You know, and he's clunky, and he's just very, very risky. Again, if you don't know this matchup, the character's S tier. But if you know the matchup, Raven is just, you know, very punishable, and there's just better options. But also, one thing I forgot to mention, that he has a 1-frame parry. That's actually very unique to Raven. That's actually very strong. He's one of the few characters that can disrespect a heat dash. So again, he's got the gimmicks. He's got some bullshit, absolutely. But if you know the matchup, he's not nearly as bad as the other characters higher than him. But he's cool. I like him. I like Raven. He's fine. Okay, 2 more characters. Devil Jin. You can make an argument that Devil Jin could be the worst character in the game. On paper, I actually don't think he is. But the thing is that he is so hard to play. He takes super high execution, super high fundamental skill, and I feel like even when you master that stuff, I feel like the character is still relatively low tier. His poking is trash. Hell Sweep, not as good as the other characters in my opinion, but still launching Hell Sweep is still nice to have. He's very steppable. His heat is, after they nerfed his heat smash, his heat is very underwhelming. Very underwhelming. You know, you could set the heat smash. His Morning Crow mix-ups are, you know, they're okay, but they're just not as good as some of the other characters. Like I said, his down for 1 is absolute dog shit. Again, very steppable. Again, he still has electric. He still does super high damage. His wall game and his gimmicks are still very fucking strong. His down back plus 2 punch is broken. On paper, that shit's completely broken. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, you said he can kill you with 2 interactions and has the best move in the game. Are you talking about Devil Jin? I think you're talking about Devil Jin. Again, here's the thing. Like I said, dude, I already said, on paper, I don't think Devil Jin is the worst character in the game. But my thing is that he is so hard to play that I think that he's inconsistent. I think that plays a role, you know? But yes, Devil Jin has bullshit. He absolutely does. Yes, his charge up punch is completely busted. That shit needs to get toned down. His wall game, I think, is very good. Devil Jin still has very good tools. And this is the list. Look, we have B plus here. Like in Tekken 7, I had a D tier, I think. This game is very well balanced. Maybe outside of the top 10. Outside of the top 10, this game is very well balanced. So I'm not asking them to buff Devil Jin. Devil Jin, I think, is fine the way he is. But on paper, or not on paper, but I just think just based on his difficulty and the fact that he is so hard to use compared to like an Asuka or even a Raven or any of these characters really, I feel like that hurts him in the long run. But he also has good, you know, he has panic moves like his up 4, back 3, but they're all very risky. And again, his poking is absolute dog shit. So, yeah, Devil Jin, again, Still a very good character, but yeah, in my opinion, you could argue him being the worst. Again, you could make an argument. And then finally, I forgot to mention, but we have Asuka. So Asuka is another one of those characters where you don't want to press into her, otherwise she blows you up. You know, with her back three, her can, again the Sabaki, good parries. Yeah, if you press into Asuka, she's gonna kill you. Kind of like Lee, Heihachi to a certain extent, Brian, Steve, these characters. But again, similar to Lee, it's just like if a player is not pressing into her, again, how does the Asuka player really open you up? Like her offense is just very weak. She has a really hard time opening people up. She's very steppable to the right. She's very, again, it can be very punishable, especially with her down 1+2 is launch punishable. And again, her offense is it's just not there. And when people are not pressing, there's really not much Asuka can really do, especially if there's no wall nearby. So, yeah, big problem with Asuka. But again, I hate this character. She's still absolutely obnoxious, but if you know the matchup and you don't press into her, she's very limited in what she can do. And again, compared to all these characters, she just can't keep up. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically my final season 1 tier list. For season 2, apparently there's going to be a lot of changes. Again, am I going to play much of season 2? I don't know. I'll check out the changes. We'll see. But, this is my final tier list for the end of season 1. I think it's pretty good. Again, there could be some characters that I can move higher or lower, but I feel pretty happy about this tier list. Again, the future for Tekken, we'll see. But I appreciate y'all for coming in and watching me talk about this list. What did you say? Unseeable low launcher will probably always be the most broken move probably in the game. Murray needs to stop telling them to put it in the game because it causes possible to balance with it. Devilgen's Hell Sweep. I guess you're talking about Devilgen. Devilgen's Hell Sweep is overrated in my opinion. Like it's not as good as you think. Like, okay, the max damage you can get from his Hell Sweep is like 45 damage. I mean, in my opinion, but the problem is if you do the damage with Devilgen, he gets no Oki. He gets 0 Oki afterwards. While Kazuya, he can do his Hell Sweep, which does a little bit of less damage. But you're right next to the opponent, where you get an incredible mix-up. And at the wall, at some angles, that becomes a full-blown combo for a shitload of damage. Kazuya's Hell Sweep, in my opinion, is better than Devilgen's. And I think you could even argue Jin's is better. You could argue that, but Kazuya has a better Hell Sweep than Devilgen. It's obviously good. It's still good, but it's overrated in my opinion. He was found without launching Hell Sweep in Tag 2 and Tekken 6. Sure, he was. Yeah, cool. He still has that option though. He still has the Hell Sweep 4/4 option. He can still do that if he wants to. But yeah, Devilgen's Hell Sweep is not as good as people say. Like, it's still good, obviously, but it's a little overrated in my opinion. But like I say, on paper, I don't think Devilgen is the worst. It's just that he's so hard to play, and that really holds him back. That even if you master all of his stuff, he's still on paper a relatively weak character compared to the rest of the cast. But yeah, this is my tier list. I appreciate y'all for stopping by. I'm gonna try to make timestamps tomorrow for all the characters, so y'all, for people who miss it, y'all can just go to a certain character that I talk about and listen to it. I'll do that tomorrow. But yeah, thank you guys for stopping in, though. I really do appreciate it. We'll see when I stream again. This is Falcon the Wrestler, and I'll see